I am Dr. TP Singh. I am cardiologist. I am director TAVI services here. The topic of today's discussion is TAVR, which is a non-surgical measurement of aortic stenosis. This is a new game changer and it is a revolutionary therapy and a boon for elderly. Actually, TAVR means transcatheter aortic valve replacement. Other name for it is TAVI, that is transcatheter aortic valve implantation. Aortic valve stenosis occurs when the heart's aortic valve narrows. Narrowing prevents the valve from opening fully, which obstructs the blood flow from your heart into your aorta and onward to the rest of the body. That's why one feels fatigued every time, one feels chest pain because proper blood is not entering the coronary arteries, and other symptoms can be syncope and heart failure. The prevalence of aortic stenosis is estimated to be 7% of the population over 65 years of age, and it is more likely to affect men than women. 70% of adults with symptomatic AS are male. Coming to the demographics of aortic stenosis, 7% population more than 65 years of age. There is another term called aortic sclerosis. Here in aortic sclerosis, there is thickening of the aortic valve cusp, but there is no actual narrowing. It is seen in the 29% of the population above 65 years. And it is not a benign condition. Aortic sclerosis patients, they are at 50% greater risk of mortality and myocardial infarction, and they progress to aortic stenosis in 9% of patients over next 5 years. Coming to Indian demographics, the prevalence of moderate to severe AS in patients more than 65-year-old in India is around 5%, and it is the most common valvular heart disease of the elderly, and it increases with age. The prevalence is 7 to 8% at the age of 75 years and 10% at the age of 85 years. What causes aortic stenosis in adults? The commonest cause is age-related calcific valvular degeneration. So, in patients over the age of 65, it is usually caused by calcium deposits associated with aging. Some people, adults, they have rheumatic fever during childhood. They can also develop aortic stenosis at later ages. And in a significant number of cases, the cause of aortic stenosis is congenital abnormality, where there are two cusps instead of three cusps. It is called bicuspid aortic valve, and it gradually, as age advances, the valve gets narrowed and stenosis occurs. What are the major etiologies? This picture shows the major etiologies. Here is a normal valve, here it is a bicuspid valve, and this is the rheumatic valve, and here you can see degenerative calcific aortic stenosis. This diagram shows this is a normal valve and the Doppler pattern of the normal valve. This is the aortic stenosis. Here you can see there is slight increase in the aortic valve velocity, but it is less than 2.5 millisecond. This is the mild to moderate aortic stenosis, where the velocity is 2.5 to 4 meter per second, and this is the severe aortic stenosis, where the velocity is more than 4 meter per second. What are the risk factors? What are the major risk factors? The independent clinical factors associated with the degenerative aortic valve disease include increasing age, male gender, hypertension, smoking, elevated cholesterols. What can be the signs and symptoms? Main symptoms are angina, syncope and heart failure. Signs can be carotid parvus et tardus, which is a typical pulse in aortic stenosis, laterally displaced apex beat, soft A2, crescendo, decrescendo systolic murmur, which is sometimes relating to carotids, and the timing of the peak murmur and not the intensity predicts the stenosis severity. So mind it, it's the timing of the peak murmur but not the intensity which tells us the how much severe is the aortic stenosis. This is important thing. Aortic stenosis is life-threatening and it progresses very rapidly. Once patient presents with angina, the life expectancy is 5 years old. And if patient comes with syncope, the life expectancy is 3 years. And if patient comes with heart failure, the life expectancy is only 2 years. So survival after onset of symptoms is 50% at 2 years and 20% at 5 years. Intervention for severe aortic stenosis should be performed promptly once even minor symptoms occur. Aortic stenosis has got sobering perspective. Here you can see the comparison of survival between various malignancies. The 5-year survival of breast cancer, lung cancer, prostate cancer, ovarian cancer and severe inoperable aortic stenosis. You can see the severe inoperable aortic stenosis has the worst of the survival. What are the severity criteria as far as echocardiography is concerned? Peak velocity less than 2.5, it can be aortic stenosis. Mild is 2.5 to 3 meter per second, moderate is 3 to 4 and severe is more than 4. Mean gradient in aortic stenosis, it will be normal. Mild AS less than 20, moderate is 20 to 40 and severe AS is 40 or more. Aortic valve area in sclerosis, it will be normal. More than 1.5 centimeter square in mild, 1 to 1.5 centimeter square in moderate and less than 1 centimeter square in severe aortic stenosis. There is another parameter which is recently added to this armamentarium of severity criteria, that is called DVI, that is dimensionless velocity index. If it is more than 0.50, it is mild AS, it is 0.25 to 0.50 is moderate AS and less than 0.25 is actually severe AS. What actually is DVI? DVI is called dimensionless velocity index. It is the ratio of velocity of LVOT by velocity of aortic valve. So, if it is less than 0.25, it is actually a severe aortic stenosis. Multiple modalities may be used to diagnose severe aortic stenosis, starting from auscultation, going to transthoracic echocardiography, then getting a cardiac cath if required, and ECG will show left ventricular hypertrophy, and CT scan is the ultimate which we have to do to analyze the patient for TAVR or TAVI. CT scan is done before TAVR to see the annular sizing, to see the height of coronaries and to see the status of the limb vessels from where we are going to do the TAVI. So, these are the echocard. This slide shows the how to measure the severity of echocardiography. Here we have to measure the AS jet and we have to measure the LVOT velocity. Then we can calculate the cross-sectional area of the aortic valve and we can also do the planimetry of aortic valve. We also encounter patients with discordant gradients, meaning thereby patient has a severe aortic stenosis, patient's aortic valve area is less than 1 centimeter square, but his gradients are not in the severe criteria. Means it is not more than 40 mean gradient or not more than 64 systolic gradient. So, what to do in these cases? If patient's mean gradient is less than 40 and his aortic valve area is less than 1 centimeter square, which comes under the category of severe aortic stenosis, but the gradient comes under the category of moderate aortic stenosis. So, what to do? So, up to 35% of patients with severe AS present with low flow, low gradient. These are called low flow, low gradient severe AS with low ejection fraction. There is another entity called low flow, low gradient severe AS with preserved ejection fraction. This is called paradoxical severe aortic stenosis. What to do in low flow, low gradient AS? Suppose we are strongly suspecting that patient is having severe aortic stenosis, but his gradients are to the extent of moderate aortic stenosis. We can subject these patients to dobutamine stress echo. By increasing the cardiac output, we can determine if the AS is severe by reassessing the gradient across the aortic valve, which usually increases and the aortic valve area remains the same or decreases. If the aortic valve area increases, then it is pseudo-severe aortic stenosis. We can also assess the myocardial contractile reserve. If cardiac output improve by 20% or more, we get very good results with opening of the aortic valve. If aortic wall area is less than 1 centimeter square, mean gradient is less than 40 millimeter of mercury, and ejection fraction is less than 50%, and stroke volume index is less than 35 millimeter per meter square, it is called low flow, low gradient AS. What is paradoxical low flow, low gradient severe AS? Here aortic valve area is less than 1 centimeter square, mean gradient is less than 40, ejection fraction is more than 50%, but stroke volume index is less than 35 millimeter per minute square. This is typically encountered in small elderly ladies with small LV cavities, marked left ventricle hypertrophy, and frequently long standing hypertension. These low gradients often lead to an underestimation of the severity of the disease. So many of those patients do not undergo surgical or this catheter aortic valve replacement. But mind it, these are the patients who get maximum benefit with intervention. So we have to screen the patients if they are having low ejection fraction, whether they are having severe aortic stenosis or not. If they are having severe aortic stenosis, we can diagnose this by subjecting them to dobutamine stress echocardiogram, or if we suspect it's paradoxical low flow, low gradient. If patient is low flow, low gradient, low ejection fraction, severe aortic stenosis, we can subject them to dobutamine stress echocardiogram and diagnose and prove whether it is severe aortic stenosis or not. If patient we are suspecting is paradoxical low flow, low gradient. So what are the options for aortic valve replacement? There are two types of patients, where patient is inoperable for surgery or patient is at high risk for surgery, and on other side is patients who are suitable for surgery, open heart surgery. So for open heart surgery, we have surgical aortic valve replacement and even minimally incision valve surgery. Some people are doing it. The new thing now which we are discussing today is transcatheter aortic valve replacement. Earlier it started with patients for inoperable or high risk patients, but now we are doing it in moderate risk patients, intermediate risk patients. Now recently we have got data for patients even for low risk for surgery, and FDA has even given approval for patients those who are at low risk for surgery. TAVI is an suitable alternative. See, aortic valve replacement greatly improves survival. This slide shows that patients, even those who have severe AS and even they have no symptoms, they also responded very well and their survival was much better after surgical aortic valve replacement. Study data demonstrate that early and late outcomes were similarly good in both symptomatic and asymptomatic patients. It is important to note that among asymptomatic patients with severe aortic stenosis, omission of surgical treatment was the most important risk factor for mortality. So if you have a severe aortic stenosis patient, refer it to a heart team. Increasing number of heart centers offer all the available AS solutions. So referral to such a center offers the most options for patients. A multidisciplinary approach is necessary in order to direct each patient towards the best therapeutic option. The team will evaluate the patients for AVR, surgical AVR, balloon valvuloplasty or TAVI or just medical management. So team will analyze, team will see the CT scan, team will see the medical conditions, team will see the comorbidities and decide which is the best approach for patient. Studies show that at least 40% of patients with severe aortic stenosis are not treated with aortic valve replacement. This can be because patients are elderly, they are at high risk or they are inoperable. So now TAVI is the suitable alternative for these kind of patients where earlier patient nothing was done, severe AS was diagnosed and nothing was done and patient was left to die only. So what is this transcatheter aortic valve implantation? An aortic valve replacement as an alternative to traditional thoracotomy. It is less invasive than traditional thoracotomy for patients considered too high risk for traditional surgery. Expanding the unmet clinical need. TAVI expands the options for untreated patients by offering a minimally invasive procedure that does not require cardiopulmonary bypass. The additional benefits can be shorter procedure with lesser pain, a shorter stay in the hospital, shorter recovery time, normal aortic valve function, and improvement in your overall life expectancy and functioning. Coming to TAVI history, the first TAVI procedure was done in 2002 by Alan Krieber. So now increased knowledge and experience has led to much improved patient outcomes and since CE marking in 2007. But now in 2020, we have very good designs, we have got very good valves, we have got very good hardware, and the sheath size is now brought down to almost 14 French, which earlier used to be 22 or 24 French. So this valve exhibits consistent radial strength and maintains its concentric shape even in a diseased annulus. These are some studies where TAVI has been compared with surgical aortic valve replacement. Here we can see that partner A, US core valve, Notion, partner 2A, overall they all favor TAVI. Now, what are the aspects to be considered by the heart team for the decision between surgical AVR and TAVI in patients with increased surgical risk? STS and Euroscore are the scoring systems which are developed to assess the surgical risk of patient who is going for aortic valve replacement. So, these are the scores which we calculate, we get the assessment whether how much is the risk for surgery. So, if STS and Euroscore 2 is less than 4% or logistic Euroscore is less than 10%, it favors surgical AVR. If this STS and Euroscore 2 is more than 4% or logistic Euroscore is more than 10%, we should do TAVI. If there is presence of severe comorbidity which is not adequately reflected by scores, we should do TAVI. Age is less than 75 years, it favors surgical AVR. If age is more than 75 years, it favors TAVI. Previous surgery, it's TAVI. Frailty, it's TAVI. Restricted mobility and conditions that may impact the rehabilitation process after the procedure, it favors TAVI. But if patient is having endocarditis, then surgical AVR should be done. What are the anatomical and technical specs? If there is a favorable access for transfemoral TAVI, it will favor TAVI. Unfavorable access for transfemoral TAVI, then favors surgical AVR. Patients sequelae of chest infection, porcelain aorta, presence of intact coronary bypass grafts at risk when sternotomy is performed, it favors TAVI. Expected patient prosthetic mismatch favors TAVI. Short distance between coronary ostia and aortic valve annulus, it favors surgical AVR. If size of the aortic valve annulus is out of the range of which are available TAVI valves, it favors surgical AVR. And if aortic root morphology is unfavorable for TAVI, it will definitely favor surgical AVR. Presence of thrombi in aorta LV, it will favor surgical AVR. If valve morphology which is unfavorable for TAVI, like very dense calcification pattern which is very dense or sometimes bicuspid, it will favor surgical AVR. But now many of the bicuspid valves in India, we are doing TAVI very successfully. Some cardiac conditions, if patient is severely requiring revascularization by CAVG, then naturally it will favor surgical AVR. Primarily mitral valve disease, surgical AVR. Aneurysm of the ascending aorta, surgical AVR. Septal hypertrophy suggesting myomectomy is required, it's surgical AVR. So, we have two options for TAVI. One is a balloon expandable valve, other is the self-expandable valve. In balloon expandable valve, we have the options of Edwards Sapien valve, which has now recently been available in India as well. My valve is the Indian valve, which is being used very frequently in many centers of India. Self-expandable valve is Medtronic Evolute, which is available in India, and another is Boston Accurate Neo, which is not yet available in India. I am sharing my few cases. This is a patient, 78-year-old male, severe calcific aortic stenosis, interstitial lung disease, obesity, obstructive sleep apnea on BiPAP. This is the echocardiography of patient showing of this patient who having severe calcific aortic stenosis. You can see a very thickened and calcified aortic valve. You can see very high gradients, maximum gradient is 88 and mean gradient is 57, and aortic valve area is 0.72 centimeter square. Here you can see the aortic root angio. Patient is having very high gradients, maximum gradient is 88, mean gradient is 57, and the aortic valve area is 0.72 centimeter square. This is aortic root angio. We have to do the aortic root angio to see the cusps, and we have to make a coplanar view. This is you see the aortic valve which is being positioned across the aortic valve. Now here we have inflated the balloon after properly positioning it, and now you can see a properly placed aortic valve, properly deployed aortic valve without any PVL. Now you can see this is the echocardiography after the procedure. You can see a well opened aortic valve and minimum gradients, maximum gradient of 20 and mean gradient of 20. This is another patient which we have recently done. This is 78-year-old male, severe calcific aortic stenosis, and patient was COPD as a comorbidity. Here you can see very thickened aortic valve, and you can see very high gradients. Maximum gradient is 91, mean gradient is 52, and aortic valve area is very critical, very narrow, 0.38 centimeter square. This is the aortic root angio, and here you can see we have done a valve first. We have balloon atrial valvotomy before taking the valve. Now here the valve is being positioned properly, and this is the angio after deployment of the aortic valve. You can see there is no PVL. Now this is the echocardiography after the TAVI. You can see well opened valve. This is the echocardiography after the procedure post TAVI on the second day. You can see a well positioned TAVI valve, no paravalvular leak, and it's opening well, and with minimal gradients, maximum gradient 16 and mean gradient is 9. For TAVI, we have to use multimodality imaging like the CT scan, which as I've already discussed. We have to see the coronary arteries, we have to see the limb arteries to see the suitability for TAVI, because minimum size which is required for TAVI is at least 5.5 millimeter of femoral artery. There can be some complications like vascular injury, annular rupture, stroke, coronary obstruction, need for permanent pacemaker. The need for permanent pacemaker used to be to the tune of 10% of total patients, but now with the improvement of design, proper positioning, more learning, now it has come down significantly. The rate of stroke, coronary obstruction has also come down very significantly. So this is one study which shows that rate of surgical bailout is very low for TAVR. So what can be the key takeaways? Aortic stenosis is prevalent with high morbidity and mortality when symptomatic, and aortic valve replacement is the only treatment which is associated with improved outcomes. Low risk severe aortic stenosis patients will benefit from surgical AVR. Low gradient does not necessarily exclude severe aortic stenosis even when the ejection fraction is normal. TAVI or TAVR is an excellent alternative to traditional aortic valve surgery in high risk and intermediate risk for surgery patients. So what can be the key takeaways? Aortic stenosis is prevalent with a high mortality and morbidity when symptomatic, and aortic valve replacement is the only treatment associated with improved outcomes. Low risk severe AS patients will benefit from surgical AVR. Low gradient does not necessarily exclude severe aortic stenosis even when the ejection fraction is normal. So TAVR is an excellent alternative to traditional aortic valve surgery in high risk and intermediate risk for surgery patients. It is now becoming available in more and more centers in India. Thank you very much.